When the planes were on the tarmac ready to take off, America's highest court hit pause. Because what was happening wasn't just deportation, it was a warning sign. And this time, the Supreme Court said, "Not on our watch." This week, in the pre-dawn hours before another wave of detainees could be flown out of the country, possibly forever, the United States Supreme Court issued an emergency order. One that halted deportation flights bound for El Salvador, one that called out the Trump administration's use of a centuries-old wartime law to bypass due process, and one that, at least for now, defended the Constitution. Under President Trump's latest immigration crackdown, the administration began using the Alien Enemies Act of 1798, a law written before electricity was even invented, to detain and deport immigrants without trial or appeal. Detainees, many of whom have families, jobs, and legal grounds to stay, were arrested in Texas and fast-tracked for removal. No court hearing, no time to call a lawyer. Just, you're out. But the ACLU pushed back. They filed an emergency appeal, and in a rare late-night move, the Supreme Court stepped in, ordering the government to halt the deportations until further notice. This isn't just about a few men on a plane. This is about whether due process still exists in this country. Whether the president can point to a dusty 226-year-old law and say, "That's my authority now." The court's decision sends a message. You don't get to sidestep the Constitution, even if you're the president. And let's not forget, this comes just weeks after the wrongful deportation of Kilmar Abrego Garcia, a Maryland man who was mistakenly shipped off to El Salvador and thrown in prison. No trial, no explanation, just gone. Trump's use of ICE and the courts to conduct mass removals has been escalating. But the judiciary, they're hopefully starting to push back. Even some conservative judges are now sounding the alarm, calling the administration's tactics shocking and a clear violation of American legal principles. This Supreme Court decision? It's not the end of the story, but it might just be a turning point. We're living in a moment where democracy feels fragile, but this week 7 justices reminded us that the rule of law still matters. And if we want to keep that alive, we have to stay informed, stay loud, and stay watching. If you're glad someone's finally standing up to unchecked power, hit like, subscribe, and share this with someone who thinks no one's paying attention. Because the Supreme Court just said no, and that still means something.